The middle of the journey is the part where most people are gonna quit. The middle of the journey is also like the least glamorous part. When all the applause stop and like just you versus you every day, that requires grit and mental fortitude, and like you have to win daily. Don't lose that fight, don't quit in the middle of that battle, and make it to the other side. So that was actually coming from a recent tweet post that I made. Now recently I've been rereading my book Fight Through It, as I'm most likely probably going to do like every single year.
Even if it takes forever!
Because this is like a potent reminder of what I've overcome, as well as why I'm still going and like why I can't quit. I can't give up because that kid in the hospital who had to battle back from the depths of life didn't quit, and he, or rather I, deserve like to see all the fruits of my labor. And I'm extremely proud of how far I've come. But this is where the whole middle of the journey comes in. All that most of us are going to see is just like the start and the end, which are inevitably the most exciting parts of the journey.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess.
When someone gets like the idea to achieve something special, and when they actually achieve it. But how do they get there? Through overcoming all the battles in the trenches. In today's episode, I'm going to be reading some of the most powerful excerpts from my book Fight Through It, showing you what the depths of life are like, and how I got through them, as well as like what I've learned as well. And I'll be adding in some pop culture examples too, such as like Jelly Roll, who recently lost 200 plus pounds, and an example coming from the band Good Charlotte, and how they showed the universe what they were made of and like what they were willing to do to achieve that success. Win those daily battles because your future self is going to thank you, and you're also going to make your younger self proud. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now.
Give me a...
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Bryce. If you guys didn't know, that must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts in the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Bryce. All links purchased on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEIS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me, every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton, so any support at all, as I'm always saying, would be very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper into that middle journey now. So starting with this idea of the middle of the journey being the least glamorous, but yet like probably most important part of any journey, honestly. Ever since releasing my book Fight Through It last year, I've decided that like most likely I'm going to be rereading this like every single year probably. Because one, doing so like actually allows me to learn from myself, and reinstills like all these awesome values that I have.
You see everything, don't you?
I do what I can.
And two, it's a reminder of how far I've come and like why I can't give up. So now I'm going to be reading a bit from pages 114 to 117. Let's go now. I was still coughing a lot and couldn't really swallow foods that well without coughing due to many causes, one of them being my mouth muscle strength was so weak. One day I was weighed at 110 pounds. By the end of high school, I worked my way up to around 150 to 155 pounds of solid muscle. My body looked so weak and bloated from the steroid/prednisone, but when I would look in the mirror, I would still try to pop my pecs, show myself like I could still do it.
That is the peck pop of love.
And as I mentioned back at Highland, you could catch me practicing my basketball shooting form as best I could from the hospital bed to make sure I didn't lose that either. Moving ahead a bit, everyone would try to understand what I was saying and what I wanted, as my speech was so badly slurred. Brandon, my younger brother, was the only one who sometimes knew what I was saying. I guess we've always had an unspoken connection for all the time we spent together. It was super frustrating. It was like I was a baby with the mind of an adult. I knew that I wasn't being understood, yet I knew what I wanted to say. I started trying to feed myself a bit to get myself back to normal, but often I would lose energy and become too tired to do it, and my mom would have to finish the job. At physical therapy, which happened to be my favorite, I started lifting weights again, practicing walking and going up the stairs, stretching and being tested on these things. With the lifting, I could barely get up 5 pounds and I had no dexterity or control of my limbs. I was relearning everything that used to come so naturally. At first, I could barely get up 1 flight of stairs without being out of breath and out of strength. By the end, I was going up 20 flights of stairs, making pretend I was Sylvester Stallone in the movie Rocky, and was going past my dad who was quote-unquote training with me. Some of the stuff that we were doing would make me so frustrated, and I would start crying and give up until my mom or dad would convince me to keep trying over and over again. They never let me get too down on myself. I even got to walk outside to a park one day, which was really exciting to finally breathe in some fresh air and get some sunlight after not having any for 4 straight weeks. One of my physical therapists, who was a former college soccer player, and she knew I liked soccer too, so a couple times she would set up some cones and have me dribble in and out of them, as well as have me learn other soccer drills too. Then one day she had the idea that I could go outside and play basketball. I was so excited. It felt like the first time I was ever playing. I laced up my sneakers and put on my bar mitzvah sweatshirt, which had a picture of Air Jordan, but instead says Air Jared on the back of it. We walked down to the courts, which were at a park about a block over from the hospital. I grabbed the ball, take the first shot, and airball. It was as if all the life had been sucked out of me. I took a bunch more shots, and I couldn't even reach the rim most of the time. I was so dejected and disappointed. I started bawling out in tears. This wasn't where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be having fun at college and playing college basketball and on to my goals of dunking, and here I was unable to reach the rim on most shots. I don't know if I made one shot all day, maybe I made one. My mom and therapist encouraged me to keep going, but after some time my therapist thought of some good footwork drills that we could do. Surprisingly, I wasn't as bad at these as I thought I would be. Maybe there was still some hope. So if you guys want to read more, of course check that out on my website, jaredryanweiss.com. And of course, just to be clear, that wasn't even like the worst of it. That was actually coming from the last hospital, which was actually more of the rehabilitation place. But this serves as a powerful reminder to me of how far I've come and who I do it for. That 18-year-old kid who went through hell but yet kept on pushing, the one who had everything taken from him, the whole ground just like ripped right under him, and who's had to claw tooth and nail to get it back, the one who, as you can see in all these pictures, lost 40 pounds while in the hospitals, and all that muscle that like I worked so hard to attain in high school, but then chose to build myself back up even stronger than ever. I can't give up because he didn't, or rather I didn't. And that's why this current version of me has no choice but to keep on going. And sometimes like when I look back and like I see all those pictures, I feel bad for myself looking as like an observer of all I've had to endure and how so much of this like isn't fair and like didn't make sense to me. But then when I see those pictures, I'm also in like complete amazement. And I'm super proud of myself too. Because he went through all those challenges and look at his body. That shows, and like that's all the proof I need to show me what I'm capable of now. And hopefully you guys can see my journey and think the same thing about yourselves too. I'm so proud of that broken down version of me because he had every reason to quit and yet he chose not to.
That's how they get you to give up. That if you just do the thing that they tell you you can't, then it's done.
And this is also like a powerful reminder that my words aren't just like hollow or empty motivational phrases, but they actually have super backing to them. That's the hard part sometimes when it comes like to motivational talk. It's sometimes like hard to get people to buy in when you're just saying like, oh, anything is possible. Keep pushing, keep on going. But when you have the proof to back those words up, that's what gives those words strength and power. And this doesn't mean like you have to go through what I've been through, or seek out pain or like extreme discomfort. But when you build up enough examples and calluses from times where you face challenges where giving up seemed logical, and yet you tried again and again, that's when you gain people's trust in what you're saying. And furthermore, that kid in the hospital bed who had every reason to give up, he's the reason why I'm here right now. And that's why I have to finish the job. That kid who looked so weak and lost everything, he kept on going, so that's why I can't stop. So now that you've heard some powerful examples from me, I want to share like some other really great examples from other people like you may know. And these next two are ones who I've also spoken about on here as well as like on my Rabbit Hole Roundup channel, podcast. But I want to expand on these examples because of course they fit perfectly into the theme of this episode. So first up we have Jelly Roll. So just a few short years ago, he weighed over 500 pounds, but he made a promise to himself and did so publicly. I remember listening to him on the Joe Rogan podcast during his first ever appearance on there, and he was talking all about like how he wanted to come back on there after losing 200 pounds, and of course it all sounded great, but the question was, is he actually going to do it? Is he going to commit to this?
Yeah, well, I could do it. I don't want to do it. We didn't bet on if you wanted to do it.
And of course, recently he did this, and he came back and told like super powerful story, where sometime into his weight loss journey, there was a day where it was like raining outside really badly, but yet he wanted to run on that day.
And I was like, I'm done lying to y'all, and I'm done lying to me. I told y'all I was going to go do this walk, and I'm going to go do this walk.
His daughter and wife said to him like, oh, why don't you just like run on the treadmill? Now this story isn't just about like running outside in the rain, because of course he could have totally done like his run indoors, and probably could have like burned the same amount of calories. This story though came down to no longer lying to himself. He spoke about how he had lied to himself and to his loved ones about his like commitment to losing the weight so many times over and over again, and they no longer had any reason to believe in him. And his own mind had no reason to believe in him anymore either. But this is once again where that middle of the journey is the least glamorous part, but the most important. This is where it's the battle of you versus you. What choice are you going to make? So Jelly Roll chose to go for the run outside that day, and he got super emotional while telling the story, because as he came home, his wife and his daughter were cheering for him, and in the past, he didn't give them any reason to believe in him anymore.
I'm coming back from that walk, and all my family's out there. Cheer me on.
It was at that moment that he knew like that he'd broken the pattern. He finally made it over that hump, and now he's lost over 200 plus pounds, which is incredible, like, and incredibly inspiring. But not only that, he also made it onto the cover of Men's Health this year. And he's not just stopping there, he wants to keep going and get in even better shape. He had all these addictions to drugs and to food, and he had every reason and every excuse to never have to get healthy. But now, he no longer has those addictions. Once again, when you start that tough journey, it sounds great. Sometimes it's going to sound crazy. But that exciting part is when you make it to the other side and like, you get all those applause, and you have like everyone clapping for you. The hardest though, and least glamorous phase is the middle. And you're in those trenches and you don't feel like doing what you have to. You haven't seen any results yet. Just know that like you don't make it to the other side unless you break through in the middle.
We can climb out of hell, 1 inch at a time.
And winning those battles and finally reaching the rewards on the other side is always going to make it all worth it. Now the next example I want to share of this middle of your journey being the hardest shit like most important phase in your journey is when it comes to the pop punk band Good Charlotte. Once again, I use this clip like for a recent Rabbit Hole Roundup episode, but Joe Madden told the story on his Artist Friendly podcast. He said how like the most important show or gig that he ever did wasn't when he was performing in front of millions, it wasn't when like he was performing the anthem, but it was a gig where he and his band members had to carry all the equipment for a mile just to get there, because none of them had cars and like all they had was their skateboards.
We pushed all the gear on our skateboards a mile all day, and we had every night a Sunday night gig. And the weekends that our drummer at the time was the only one with a car who would drive up where we lived in Maryland, Sunday night we'd play for 4 hours. Sometimes 50 people, sometimes it ended up becoming like a thing, and we made it a thing, and it was like 150 people every Sunday, and it was like popping.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
Started like no one.
Once again, not glamorous, not pretty, and super tough. And also like at this time, he said how like they were playing to basically nobody. Then it turned into 50 people, then 100 people, then like 150. And of course now Good Charlotte is known as like one of the most successful pop punk bands ever. But it wasn't all the sold out shows that got them there. It was, as Joel said, the ones where he had to carry the equipment for a mile just to play in front of a few people, because this was where they were showing God in the universe what they were willing to do to make their dreams a reality. Now relating this to my story, I've been making content for 5+ years now, often like to minimal or no applause, and so often to less than 5 likes a post. And sometimes I'll post a video where it's just me who likes it. But I know that one day I'll be able to look back at this time as my most pivotal phase, and similar to my whole health story, I'll be able to thank myself for not giving up. It would be so easy to be like, I'm barely making any money, I'm not monetized on YouTube, why am I still doing this? I don't even feel like posting today, why am I gonna do it? But it's because I believe so strongly in what I'm doing. I know that like my message transcends all the numbers, and as so many of your comments have shown me, I am in fact changing lives, and that's why I do this. That's why I started all this in the first place. Now, of course, I've had plenty of people who try to tell me I should change things up because I'm not getting enough views or enough likes, or whatever the case may be, but they don't have my vision, and they're not seeing what I'm seeing. As I've said in the past, and one of my favorite lines that I live by, is that anyone out there can have a moment or a viral moment, but I'm creating and building a movement. And that takes time. It doesn't just happen with one viral clip or the overnight success story. That fast, quick success often fades, but mine is going to be long lasting because of all the blood, sweat, and tears, and all the time and effort I put into what I'm doing.
You just don't know how to give up.
The universe rewards you when you refuse to quit. Moving right along, one super important thing to remember about the whole middle part of your journey is that it's not just about you anymore. Think about it and consider this. Have you ever been struggling maybe on like a health journey? Maybe on like a weightlifting or a sports journey? Maybe as a struggling artist or musician?
Spare change, ma'am.
Yet you think to yourself, oh, Tom Brady was a 6th round draft pick and he became like the best quarterback of all time. Dick Van Dyke is currently 100 years old, but like he's still working out at the gym every day. Or 3 days a week if I'm not mistaken. J.K. Rowling's book was rejected like over 100 times before becoming a huge success. Jared overcame a life-threatening illness, and look at all that he's achieving athletically, or how he has a podcast despite having massive speech challenges and like massive health challenges. Or so many of his posts get less than 5 likes, but like he's still going, so like I can't quit either. And this is why I'm so open with you guys on social media as well as like in my book, and the huge reason why I wrote my book. It's because I want my story to be the one like that you guys could refer to, and hopefully whoever reads or listens to me is gonna feel a lot less alone, and like they can overcome their immense challenges too. We, or at least I know that like whenever I'm going through like a really tough challenge, I will look to a story of someone in a similar situation who never gave up and like made it to the other side. So it's like, as you may know, I've been on like a dunk journey ever since I was 13 years old. Despite being only 5'6", it took me 10 years and going through a whole life-threatening illness just to touch the rim on that journey. So often though, I'll see a story of someone who's 5'4" and dunked. Or Andy Nicholson who's 54 years old like and still dunking. And no, I'm not saying that like I need anyone else to show me that my dreams are possible, because I'm different from anyone else in the world, just like you are. So any statistic out there can't possibly define you, but it also like doesn't hurt to have someone to be like, oh, I'm not late, that person did it. I still have time to achieve this goal. Or I'm not too short, this guy did it at that height too. And now flipping this back onto us, whether we like it or not, people are looking at us. And these people who look up to us have to see that like we're still trying. When we go after one of these monster-sized goals, whether it's dunking a basketball despite being only 5'6", or healing from a life-threatening illness, or being a struggling artist or a struggling content creator, we just might be that story that like others latch onto for hope.
Don't give me hope.
And if they see us quit, they're gonna quit too. So, we can't be the ones who quit. We have to fight to make it to the other side, to show all the people who are looking up to us, and even our younger selves, that our dreams are in fact possible. Now the final point I want to make for this episode is that life, just as in football, is won and lost in the trenches. We may only see like all the flashy plays being done by the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receivers, because those are the guys who are going to be scoring the touchdowns, but they don't get to do their thing without the less glamorous play coming from the offensive and defensive lines. As any football fans out there know, how often like does it happen where you have like a great quarterback who's super talented but can't get anything done because they have a terrible offensive line? Joe Burrow and the Bengals, I'm looking at you guys. Or rather, even if you look at someone like Sam Darnold, who back when he was on the Jets, everyone saw him like as a bust. But now let's take this back to our own journey. So the trenches for us might be like the day where you don't feel like working out, and they don't mean physically unable to work out, but mentally you're just like not all there, and yet you go to the gym anyways. You don't feel like making another song because you haven't made any money yet, but you do it anyway. You're wondering if it's worth to keep on posting because most of your posts only get like a handful of likes, and that you do it anyway. You're guaranteeing that you still have a chance. Today might be the day like where it all happens and like where everything all comes together, but the only way that you guarantee that it won't be is if you throw in the towel and quit. The trenches are where you keep trying even when the odds are stacked against you. Your friends are suggesting like you try something new. Your parents are trying to push you in like a different career direction. But you know that like this is what you want and believe in, so you keep pushing. That, I believe, is where all the magic happens, and that's where the strong foundation of all its future success is going to be built on. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the message, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed what you heard, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding, catch you next time. Peace.